Welcome to Leadership Sovereignty, the podcast. I'm your host, Ralph Owens, along with Terry Baylor. In today's episode, we'll touch on topics such as knowing when to stop talking in negotiation, following up with your interviewer, what's for you is for you, and the power of winning the moment. Enjoy the show. Yeah, one other negotiation mistake we see is over negotiating. I heard this said so many different times by so many different people, and it'll never leave me. When you get the other person to say yes, stop talking. So many people want to get into these situations, and I think they lose themselves in the negotiation versus winning. They want to just keep talking and keep pressing and keep pressing and keep pressing. When you get the person to say yes and agree with you, stop talking. Right? Because the more you talk at that point, after they say yes, the only thing you can do is cause damage. Make them second guess, what they just agreed to and things of that nature. So now the good recap on common negotiation mistakes. So moving to the next part, the post-negotiation tips. Do a follow-up. It's important to do a follow-up with the employer, right? Ask them to set an expectation for you as to when they plan to make a decision. Is there any other information that you could provide them? Something that's been very looked upon as very favorable are thank you notes, right? Yep. After an interview, hey, I just want to appreciate your time and things of that nature. But cannot overemphasize the importance of doing a follow-up, because so many people are just, as they call them, professional interviewers. They just interviewing with as many people as they can, and they lose track of who they even talking to, right? So the interviewer needs to know that you were totally vested and that you're following up. Any thoughts about that, Terry?
Yeah, here's the deal, right? Treat people the way you want to be treated at the end of the day. Mm-hmm. Right. And if you're going to spend, here's, this is a tip someone gave me as well. You're putting your name out there, and, let's say that you want another opportunity, right? Because you've run your course there. Well, you may be circling back around to some of these companies. That's and right. Your resume is still on file.
That's right.
Right. And then, granted, you may have a recruiter that's still there. They may not be. But when they go back to look at those notes, they could be like, oh, yeah, this person was, so just follow through, complete the process.
Yes.
And it doesn't cost you much. Mm-hmm. It doesn't cost you much.
That's right.
Right. To send a thank you letter, man, even if it's canned. If you are on 4 or 3, look. Complete the process. It's not going to cost you much.
Yeah.
It's not going to cost you much.
Yeah. I'm a big believer, and I've done this many times myself. I'm a big believer in an interview as a conversation to me, right? Because I am so confident when I walk in there that what God has for me, I'm going to get anyway. I don't have to try to pretend that I'm something that I'm not or anything like that. And I always say this, at the end of the day, it may not be a good fit for both of us. Right? Because it's not just about the employee, it's about you as well. It may not be a good fit for both of us, but at least we made a great connection.
Yeah.
Because you never know how life will tie that thing, to your point, Terry, back around again. Right? You may not get that position, but the person connected with you so well that someone else in the industry who's looking for someone, they say, man, I'm really looking for somebody. You know what? I just interviewed somebody I think would be a great candidate for you.
Correct. Because right? They talk. They talk.
All the time. All the time. So again, your job in this process is to do your research and show up and be the best version of yourself. That's your whole job. The outcome is outside of your control, and you have to be okay with that, right? Beating yourself up saying, I wish I did this better. I wish I had done that better. No, come to the game ready to play at a high level, and then let the outcome be what the outcome's going to be, right? Because at the end of the day, after you have these interview experiences, you need to reflect and learn and become better, right? Because you only become better in negotiation and salary negotiating and interviewing through practice. This is not something you can mock your way through, because every person on the other end of the table is going to be different. They're going to have a different set of questions, different motivations, things of that nature. You only become better at this through actually doing it. I mean, Terry, what are your thoughts on that?
So, man, you hit a point. So I met a guy, and again, right, this is a totally different. This is not a work situation, but I got to tell this story. And so, Liz was 16 at the time, and we were going to a tournament in Atlanta. And I saw this little thing, it was called Win the Moment. I'm like, Liz, you want to go to? She was like, I don't know, Dad. I said, look, I think it may be good. It talks about, your approach and whatnot. I didn't have any idea what it was about. So I ended up going, and we met this guy by the name of Coach Carpenter. And so we go through the event, and he has this philosophy called Win the Moment. And so I'm going to tie that into what you were talking about in terms of when you get in the interview and be the best version of yourself. So his philosophy on Win the Moment is you do not control the outcome of where the ball goes. But what you do control is put the best swing on the ball that you can.
That's nice.
That's what you do control.
That's right.
So he basically condensed this whole, at most you may get 7 pitches, right? Somewhere around there. But he condensed it down to a swing by swing moment. So winning the moment is when you step back in the box, win that moment, which is put the best swing in that moment that you can on the ball.
That's fantastic. Yeah.
So I tell myself that, Terry, just win the moment, right? Meaning, okay, I'm going into a meeting with whomever, the business, right? Whatever. I'm going into an interview. This is the 3rd interview, whatever. Okay. I'm going to win that moment. I can't control what comes out of
That's
this.
right. That's right.
So fast forward 2 or 3 months. Liz and I, in the softball world, you go through these tryouts. Liz really had her heart set on playing with this one team. They have several teams, but this organization here in Texas. So she had gotten some offers, but we didn't. She was like, Dad, I don't want to accept those. I'm like, okay. Well, we get down to the last day, and she didn't get that offer from the team she was looking for. So we call the team that did give her the offer earlier in the week. They were like, we've already filled the position. So essentially, Ralph, tryouts are over and we don't have a team.
Wow.
So we're like, so Liz is bummed out. I call my buddies, hey man, all right, let me make some calls, see what's, whatever, right? Within 30 minutes of that whole situation, we get 2 calls. Now, what was interesting is both those calls were from the organization she wanted to be with. But it's not just being with the organization, it's being on the right team within the organization, right? Because the higher teams get the better games, the better gear, all that kind of stuff, right? The notoriety, recognition. One of the calls we got was from this guy by the name of Coach Carpenter. And we met in Atlanta. Did not know he was from Texas.
Oh, wow.
So what was funny about that, right? We went to that event. We were the best version of ourselves that we could be. And it was a small group setting. We happened to be one of the only 1 or 2 African Americans who were in the event. So, he made sure that we were comfortable in the event and all of that. Well, come to find out, Ralph, this was the number 2 team in the organization.
Wow.
Elizabeth was 15 at the time. The majority of these girls were already committed and going to college. They liked her so much, they wanted her to play up a level. So she had an opportunity to play with these upper level girls, which pushed her, right, further. Right. So I say that to say this, right? Goes back to the conversation about be the best version of yourself that you can be. You don't know who you're talking to.
That's right.
You don't know who they know.
That's right.
right? So
That's right.
win those moments, man. Don't take any encounter for granted. That's really what this whole story was about. And be the best version of yourself.
Thank you for listening to the Leadership Sovereignty Podcast. We hope that you not only enjoyed the content, but gained something to help you on your personal leadership journey. Feel free to reach out to us on X and Instagram under the handles Leadership Sovereignty. Until next time, stay safe, peace, and blessings.